Assalamu alaikum students. Today we are going to start the next topic, that is about the mechanism of photosynthesis. According to this process, what happened that actually the photosynthesis occurs in the two phases. During the first phase, what happens, the light energy is captured and is used to make high energy molecules. These high energy molecules are what? ATP and NADPH. These reactions are actually known as the light reactions, and it takes place in the thylakoid membranes of the chloroplast. And during the second phase, the carbon dioxide is reduced to make the glucose. In this phase, the energy from high energy molecules, that is ATP and NADPH, is utilized. You can see in this figure it is being utilized by this reaction, and since these reactions do not use the light directly, that is why they are called as the dark reaction. The dark reaction is that carbon dioxide molecules are combined with the 5 carbon compounds and it forms the two temporary 6 carbon compounds. Each of these 6 carbon compounds gets split into two 3 carbon compounds. Now this 3 carbon compound, that is 1,3-bis biphosphoglycerate, is actually then are reduced to the 3 carbon carbohydrates by utilizing the ATP and hydrogen from NADPH. Then the carbon carbohydrates are used to manufacture the glucose. You can see in this figure that this 1,3-bis phosphoglycerate, by utilizing the 6 NADPH and converted into 6 NADP, is making the glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate. This glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate is making the glucose and other organic compounds. Then this carbon compound gets converted into the glucose 6G3P, and then after giving phosphate to ADP, this ATP is getting converted into ADP. That means the energy is being utilized, and it regenerates the 5 carbon compound that was the original compound, and by it happens obviously by utilizing the energy, by utilizing the ATP. Now coming towards the second one, this dark reaction is actually also called as the Calvin cycle. While coming towards the light reaction is also called as the Z scheme. As you can see in the figure, it's shaped like works like the Z structure. So the summary that takes place during these reactions are what you can see through the figure as well, that when chlorophyll molecules absorb light, here the chlorophyll molecules, and when they absorb light, their energy level increases, and then their electrons are emitted. As a result, what happened? The electrons get excited and they emitted. Then the electrons pass to the electron transport chain. Here's the electron transport chain. It passes to it and produces the ATP. Then light also breaks the water molecules and oxygen is released. This breakdown of the oxygen molecules is called as the photolysis. And the electrons of chlorophyll, after the production of ATP, when it produces the ATP, and the hydrogen ions of water are used for the reduction of NADP positive to NADPH. This whole series of light reaction is a Z scheme due to its Z-shaped flowchart. The next thing is about the role of chlorophyll and light. The first thing is about the role of light, that sunlight energy is absorbed by the chlorophyll. It is then converted into the chemical energy, and this chemical energy makes the role in the photosynthetic processes. Then only about 1% of light falling on the leaf surface is actually absorbed, while the rest of the light is reflected and transmitted. And the light being absorbed have the different wavelengths, but these different wavelengths are not differently absorbed by the photosynthetic pigments, but they actually are effective in the different way. Then the second thing is about the role of chlorophyll. The photosynthetic pigments that are organized is actually in the form of clusters, and these clusters are called as photosynthesis. They are present in the thylakoids of the chloroplast. So here the chlorophyll A is the main photosynthetic pigment. Others accessory pigments are also included in that, for example the chlorophyll B and carotenoids. So chlorophyll absorbs mainly blue and red light, and some wavelengths are not absorbed by the chlorophyll A, and these are very effectively absorbed by accessory pigments. Next thing is about the limiting factors in photosynthesis. Limiting factors means those factors that are whose absence or whose deficiency can affect the whole reaction. These are being called as the limiting factors. Light intensity and temperature act as the limiting factor. Carbon dioxide concentration act as the limiting factor. So how the light intensity and temperature affects that if the rate of photosynthesis varies with the light intensity. It decreases as light intensity decreases and increases as the light intensity increases. For example, you can see that if there is more sunlight, the plant can easily grow, while in case the light is less, or you can place the plant inside a room, so the growth will stop, or maybe that will be slow. In the other case, the effect of temperature. So the decrease or increase in temperature affects the plant. If the temperature is more than the required range, that is the limited range of the plant for the plant, if it increases from that, obviously it affected the plant, and as a result the plant will die. And if it is placed in a more cold place, it also affects the plant. The other thing is about the effect of carbon dioxide concentration. The carbon dioxide concentration rises and the rate of photosynthesis goes on increasing until the limited by other factors. So increase in carbon dioxide concentration beyond a certain level causes the closure of stomata, and it decreases the rate of photosynthesis. This is all about the process and mechanism of photosynthesis that takes place inside the plant, and how the plant grows in a very effective way. Instead of that, if there will be the loss of any of these things, or there is absence of any of these things, the plant's growth will be stunted or it may stop.